Have arrested the last suspect in the Summerlin shooting that happened earlier this year. Haley Faree was arrested on Sunday and booked for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and conspiracy to commit robbery. She is one of 3 people arrested in connection with that shooting that happened on September 11th and left 2 people hurt. Now, according to her arrest report, she asked the victims to pick her up in a neighborhood near Alta and Pavilion Center. The victims told detectives that when they arrived, 2 men jumped out of a nearby bush and 1 fired shots. Faree initially told police that she ran when those shots rang out, but was later seen on surveillance video meeting back up with the 2 suspects, who were later identified as Malachi Gary and Elijah Warren. Both men have pleaded guilty and are set to be sentenced next week.